Tansei, Tanishi, Buju. It's Samantha Loney here with Simcoe Community Media at Tony Belcourt's Art and Reconciliation event. The day was opened with Tony Belcourt along with the other organizers and people involved in throwing the second Truth and Reconciliation Through Art event. As you may remember, last year we were here for the inaugural event. The entire event actually took place at the Mississippi Valley Textile Museum. We wanted to bring you some of those remarks from elders and community members here on what truth and reconciliation means to them and why reconciliation through art is so important.
Good morning, everyone. Makwa Kiniginich, Manatuskayahin, Ochenia Yakte. My spirit name is the bear that leads. My home community is Lac Saint Anne, Alberta. That's what the priest called it when they first arrived in 1844. But we still call it in our language, Manatuskayahin, Spirit Lake. I'm honored to be co-chair of this wonderful event and have such an incredible local committee of people that are helping to put this on, and all of our volunteers. I was taking a look at the list of volunteers this morning, and we have 25 just for today. And we have, these are people that have specific assignments thanks to the volunteer coordinator, Terry Clark. And so last night's show was an incredible success at the Old Town Hall, and the day before when we had the screening of Inindi, a beautiful day and a beautiful ceremony. And I want to thank everybody who's here. I would like to now call up Marie-Louise Perron. She's a Métis elder, a dear friend of mine from Red River Country in Manitoba and Saskatchewan. Her roots go deep out there in the west. Marie-Louise.
Can everybody hear me?
Yes. Yeah.
Excellent. Koe kekina, Anni, Tanchikiwa, Urlakut. Hello, bonjour. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Marie-Louise Perron, dear friend of Tony Belcourt, who has brought us all here today. I am the daughter of Gerard Perron from North Dakota, Virginie Stein from Saskatchewan, the granddaughter of Virinipia Perron of Quebec, and Selina Ladirut from Red River. I'm the great-granddaughter of Jean-Baptiste Ladirut from Red River, and Marguerite Saint-Arnaud from the Northwest Territories. The sash I'm wearing today dates from the time of Riel, and I wear it to honor my ancestors, especially those who participated in the first resistance in Manitoba, which was the skeleton in the closet of my life until I was an adult, when I found out we were Métis. This sash I wear to honor those people, and I wear it also to honor you, all of you here, because of what we have committed to here on this day. I am honored and humbled to be here with you in this wonderful company to speak with you on this National Day of Truth and Reconciliation. In this place, we have chosen to come together and to work on healing broken relationships and to return to walking together in a good way. Since the basis of our presence today is the arts, I have been meditating on several questions. What if we all thought of the arts, artists, our work and our works, in whatever form we choose to express them, as having their origins in the spirit realm? It seems to me that we two-leggeds have slipped into talking about the arts as industries, the music industry, the fashion industry, the film industry. Just like the oil and gas industry, the forest industry, and the fishing industry. And the list rolls on very smoothly. But that's not the basis of the arts. What if we started thinking about the arts in the context of all creation and performing them, all of them, as an integral part of our everyday lives that bring us together, humans and our other than human relatives, supporting each other instead of leading us into destructive competitive attitudes. So now, as we turn our hearts and minds to the reason why we are gathered here, let us use our power and energies for the good and benefit of those we serve, especially the generations of the future. Libonjour Creata. We thank you for this beautiful day. And we say thank you for the air, the land, and the water. We thank you for all the animals, the birds, and the fish. Gitchimanito, help us to work hard. Help us to listen. Help us to tell things the way they are, in a right and good way. And help us to walk in a good way. And again, we thank you for everything. And so we say, miigwech, 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 merci miigwech. And I say, kinanskom now to all of you. To miigwech.
Thank you, Marie-Louise. I'd now like to ask Terry Clark to come up. Terry is our lead for organizing volunteers and for the billeting of visitors that are coming to town. She's just a non-stop worker, and here she is to give us the land acknowledgement.
We acknowledge that the land on which we gather today is the traditional and unceded territory of the Algonquin Anishinaabe people. The Algonquin people have lived in harmony on this land with the rocks, the trees, the roots, the water, the plants, the creatures, and the sky. We express our deep gratitude for their respect and wisdom in protecting Mother Earth from harm and greed. We are grateful that these lands today are alive with Algonquin Anishinaabe song, ceremony, and stories, so that all can understand and learn the truth about these lands. Today, on National Day for Truth and Reconciliation, we honor and we remember the children who pass in residential schools and their families and those who suffer from intergenerational trauma caused by the destructive policies of those institutions. Today and for all tomorrows, when we paddle the river or walk the forest floor or the fields, we will ask our ancestral ties to guide us on keeping this land as safe and beautiful as it has been cared for by the Anishinaabe Algonquin people in the past.
Thank you for that beautiful land acknowledgement, Terry. And now it's my great pleasure to welcome one of our biggest, well, perhaps the biggest supporter we got in this town, Mayor Krista Lowry. She's just been a rock solid, behind us all the way person ever since we first came up with the idea of having a little buskers festival a few years ago. And I told her earlier today the only thing that was missing at that incredible musical event that we had last night, which was headlined by two Juno Award-winning incredible bands, said the only thing that was missing was her trumpet. Don't know if you've ever heard her play, but it's she does the sweetest call at the cenotaph every year, and she's got a band too. So it's my pleasure to welcome you, Mayor Lowry.
Well, good morning, everyone. Is that picking me up okay? Maybe I'll start by saying my biggest disappointment this week was missing the concert last night. I have a quintet that would have missed if one of the five wasn't there for our rehearsals for some shows. But my heart was certainly here at the old town hall where I understand incredible music was shared. I've only been hearing good things so far today from it, and I had a couple people messaging me while I was in my own rehearsal that I really missed something special, which I knew absolutely was the case. But I just want to say how much an honor it is to have the level of musicianship and artistry and storytelling, dance, the ways that history and stories are shared. And I'm so grateful for all of the artists and all of the visitors and all of the residents who are coming out. Wherever people are coming from Turtle Island, it is such a great honor for me as the mayor here in Mississippi Mills to have the stories, have the artistry. And it was said so well that music and art is so much more than a sector. It tells stories in a way, it shares history, it shares emotions in a way that you just can't capture in words alone. And I can't overstate how grateful I am and what a privilege it is to be here with you today. I do want to acknowledge just how important an event this is on our journey towards reconciliation and the understanding of truth. It reminds us of the power of art to heal, to teach, and to connect. Through the visual arts, through music, through film, through food and teachings, we've been invited to engage with rich cultural heritage and lived experience of so many Indigenous peoples. And it helps us deepen our understanding and strengthen our commitments to reconciliation. I want to put a big thank you out to Tony and to his whole team for putting this together. It's no small feat to put on an event, let alone 3 days of events. So if you could help me thank them, it's such a gift to us. So on behalf of council, but also the municipality, I want to extend my most sincere thank you to the organizers, to all of the artists, those who are here today and those who have participated over the last couple days, and to all those who are here to share their gifts, their art, and teach us a little bit about their story. Your dedication to this vital work is really what helps us as settlers be able to understand the journey we need to walk to build our own understanding and really work towards reconciliation in a very meaningful way. So with that, thank you for your inspiration, thank you for your honesty, and thank you for allowing us to walk this path with you.
Thank you very much. The next person I'm going to ask to come forward is Michael Rickley Lancaster, who is the guy behind this building and everything beautiful about it. I'll never forget when our co-chair, Pamela Steele, and I went to see Michael a couple of years ago, and we said, is there anything going on in the museum on September 30th? Because if there isn't, we'd like to have an exhibition here. And he said, got on his calendar, and he said, no, there's nothing going on for those 3 days. So you can have 1 day to set up, 1 day for the exhibition, 1 day to tear it down. Can you believe it? And he gave it to us gratis. And he's a real champion of our people and our arts. Maybe he'll say a little word about this incredible event that he holds once a year at the community center, where he invited some of our people for the first time. So my pleasure to ask Michael to come forward and bring his welcome.
So, my name is Michael Rickley Lancaster. My pronouns are he, him, and I'm the executive director and curator of this fine museum. I just want to mention that the museum's slogan is was launched a couple years back, but it is Unraveling History, Weaving Community, which we hold dear to our hearts in everything we do. I would like to showcase or feature two extraordinary people that are empowering this organization the way forward. First, Elder Tony. We couldn't do this without your leadership and wisdom. You have been a great mentor and elder to me, and I really love that, and I really appreciate every moment. The other person I want to mention is Skyly Storm Hogan Stacy. She is the president of the Mississippi Valley Textile Museum, and they are a data, governance, and information management researcher and author, living and working as a guest in the unceded and unsurrendered Algonquin and Anishinaabe territory. In addition to publishing Decolonial Archival Futures with Krista McCracken in 2023, they have researched and developed projects related to residential school histories, archival practices, and indigenous sovereignty. Skyly Storm is a descendant of Mohawk Nation of, sorry, forgive me if I get names wrong, Kanawak. Skyly has also contributed to documenting oral histories centered on community resistance in Kahanawak. Skyly previously worked with the Shingwak Residential Schools Center and the Office of the Independent Special Interlocutor for Missing Children and Unmarked Burials. Currently, Skyly is a Senior Research Officer in Critical Data Studies with First Nations Information Governance Center's Data Sovereignty Research Collaborative. I am so privileged and honored to have Skyly leading this museum forward as our board president, and I just want to know that we really are working towards a meaningful way forward and trusting that leadership. Thank you.
Thanks, Michael. I'm next going to introduce our two major sponsors. And before doing that, I want to thank all of our sponsors and all of the people who are making donations to make this all possible. Everybody who's on the committee This is all done by volunteers. As I mentioned before, we have volunteers that are here working to assist the exhibitors and doing all sorts of things. So it's such an honor to have a couple of major sponsors come here to make sure that we're going to reach our financial goals and that we're going to be able to do what we want to do, which is have a surplus and provide that surplus to support Indigenous art. So the first I'm going to invite is Mitch Case, who is the Secretary of Education and Self-Government for the Metis Nation of Ontario. Mitch is from Sault Ste. Marie. He and his cohort Zach are going to be giving a teaching upstairs at 11 o'clock about Métis culture, history, and ways. And Mitch is just a dynamo who made it possible for us to have our very first Métis Museum and archival center open up in Sault Ste. Marie this year. It's a beautiful thing. Look it up. Mitch is going to be around. You want to talk to him, find out about that place. My pleasure to invite Mitch Case.
Well, good morning, everyone, and I want to begin and thank Mary Louise for starting things off in a good way for us and for that land acknowledgement here for the Algonquin people whose territory we're gathered on. So I really want to thank all of the volunteers for a whole host of reasons, because we know these events can't happen without those dedicated folks, and because I know how hard it is to work with Tony. No, I'm just kidding. He's been a hero of mine since I was a little kid, and it is my pleasure and my privilege to get to work with him. And I'm so happy to see this vision that he had for this gathering. I was invited last year, but just the day before I had to cancel. I had a bit of a flu thing going on. I wasn't feeling well, and but it seemed like such a great event, and I'm just so happy to be here this time. And on behalf of the Provisional Council, want to congratulate you, Tony, for this fantastic. Let's have a round of applause for Tony. He's the man's a force of nature, right? And it's just really important that we do these things. And I want to thank the folks from the Kushkapayo Art Collective that are all Métis artists from well, across the homeland, but living in Ontario, and for all the work that they're doing. And I see so many of our artists here, and I think that's just absolutely incredible. I want to. I think it's really important on days like today to not forget. Oh my God, there's the IG crew. I think on days like today, though, it's really important not to forget a few key things, right? And why we are here talking about reconciliation, because there are a whole lot of things that we have to reconcile as a country, right? And I think that sometimes those important numbers, those important facts get lost in these discussions. And so I just want to remind all of us, right, the importance of not just today, but every day, learning about the true and real history of this country, right? And I think it's really important that when we use days like this to take stock of the progress that has been made, or the lack of progress that has been made, right? We are now 10 years out from the Truth and Reconciliation Commission issuing its final report. 15 out of its 94 calls to action have been implemented in 10 years. And that was with a government that says that this was the most important thing that mattered to them. It's been 30 years since the Royal Commission on Aboriginal Peoples, well, next year will be 30 years, since the Royal Commission on Aboriginal Peoples made over 400 recommendations. I think 3 of them have been implemented. And I always remind people when we talk about the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. The Truth and Reconciliation Commission was paid for, funded, and supported by survivors from their settlement agreement. The Government of Canada did not pay for that. The survivors did, and in fact the Government of Canada resisted at every step it could from participating, from releasing records, and it had to be ordered by multiple judges to release records to the TRC. So when we talk about reconciliation, how can we truly be talking about reconciliation if the entity with whom we are trying to reconcile is still saying, nope, we're not going to do that, we're not going to participate, we're not going to talk, we're not going to actually do anything, we're not going to settle anything, we're going to continue to put you through this. And when the settlement agreement came forward in 2008, the Métis survivors, particularly those from the Isle Cross Residential School, were excluded. And up until yesterday, they were still being excluded. And I think we should have a huge round of applause for the survivors from the Isle Cross Residential School who yesterday had the Premier of Saskatchewan finally apologize. And I have had the incredible privilege of working with the survivors from the Isle Cross School, going with two of them to see the Holy Father and tell him directly, this is what happened to us. And I think we can never forget how important that work that is being led by survivors is. And I'll leave with one more statistic and a quote that I think it was Archbishop Tutu who said, when they first came here, they had the Bible and we had the land. And they said, let us pray. And we closed our eyes and we opened our eyes and we had the Bible and they had the land. For 150 years, 150,000 Indigenous children went to residential schools. Not just because there was, like we always think about the destruction of the family, destruction of culture that came from residential school. It was with a determined purpose so that these cultures no longer exist and can no longer protect their land from us, right? That was Canada's goal. And today, 0.36% of Canada is set aside as reserve land for First Nations people. For Métis people, the settlement, with the tiny little exception of the settlements, there is not even a process. For First Nations, it's a 25-year process to negotiate land claim settlements. For Métis, we were promised a process in 1984. We still don't even have a process. We don't even have a window. There's not even an application form. Reconciliation is a long way off. It is a very far way away if we ever get there. But if we're going to get there, it's going to be because of events like this. It's going to be because people are brave enough to sit down and have difficult conversations. And then make the difficult transition from being an ally to being a collaborator. And calling your members of parliament, calling your senators, calling whoever and saying, not in my name anymore can Canada continue to build its wealth at the expense of Indigenous people, right? That is when we will have reached true reconciliation. And so it starts here with these things, but there is a lot of work to do, folks. And so, I don't know if that's inspirational or depressing, but either way, we have a lot of work to do, right? If you're a workaholic like me, you're not afraid of work, right? So let's get the work done. And in the meantime, let's have a really good day. Let's talk about hard truths. Let's talk about hopes and reality, hopes and dreams for the future, and hopefully have like a good lunch or something in between all that. So thank you.
Awesome. Me too.
I told you he was a dynamo.
Yeah. Did he?
It's last year, first of all, we wanted to secure the space. Then we needed to start beating the bushes for some money. I can't even remember how I heard about it. Somebody told me about this fund, the Indigenous Reconciliation Fund, and from the Catholic Archdiocese, and it was so late in the game when I heard about this. I thought, well, no chance we're going to get anything. But Pam, good old Pam, such a great scribe, wrote a letter or an email And we got an instant response of interest. But we had to work fast and get our application in. This year we were a little bit ahead of the game, so we were able to ask for a little bit more. I'm really pleased to welcome and to thank representative of the Indigenous Reconciliation Fund, Kimberly Walsh.
Good morning all. As Elder Tony said, I actually work for the Archdiocese of Ottawa Cornwall, and we're part of all the dioceses across Canada that committed to raising $30 million, which goes into what's called the Indigenous Reconciliation Fund. Our pledge in Ottawa Cornwall was 1.2 million. We're almost there. We're at about $1 million right now. And we have funded about 15 projects, and we've got another 5 that are coming up for the month of October to go to the board for approval. As Elder Tony said, we helped fund, we didn't fund, but we helped to fund this last year. We've helped again this year. I'm so pleased. It's one of my favorite projects. Where I can, I try and go and see the projects or just get a feel for, you know, what's happening. And I have to say, this is one of my favorite projects that I've been to. I talk about it all the time when I'm trying to raise money and say, you know, this is such a, it's just such a colorful, fun, wonderful event. And we, up until now, we've only funded Métis projects twice, and twice it's been this one. We just finally got an Inuit group in Ottawa that they're going to get a grant next month. And we've had a number of First Nations projects, both in Akwesasne, near where I live, because I live in Cornwall, just across from Akwesasne, and a number of projects in the Ottawa area. And we went to this is one end of the diocese, and we went to the other end of the diocese on Sunday, all the way to Hawkesbury, where they unveiled 2 beautiful stone benches with the view of moving towards hope, peace, reconciliation, all that. So anyway, so I don't want to hold up anymore. You've had to listen to a lot of us talk, but I wish you a very good day. Last year I had to rush off because I had to get back home for something that Akwesasne was doing, but this year I actually had the whole day, so I'm going to get to actually see a lot more than I did last year. So quite happy about that, and I've already spent some money, so. So anyway, have a very good day, and again, it's great seeing a project like this happening.
4 years ago, some of us had this idea of having, we had a buskers festival. We just took over a park without any permits and things like that in the city of Ottawa, but the police never chased us out. And the idea came, well, why don't we do that in Elma and find a nice place to do it? But, you know, we're going to need some support. I had met Sue, and I first came in contact with the group called Mississippi Mills Alma Relations. They're a wonderful, wonderful group of people who care about everything that's going on in the community. They care about helping the youth, and they really care about reconciliation and support for the goals of reconciliation. The things they do are incredible. The quiet behind the scenes, they're just a wonderful, wonderful group. So I'd like to now introduce and ask Sue Evans to come up.
Good morning, everybody. I am a third-generation Canadian. My grandparents came from England. My ancestors originally are Anglo-Saxon and Celt My spiritual path is Christian. It has been a very difficult journey to come to understand the history that my ancestors have participated in. However, we are on a road of truth and reconciliation. It is difficult for us to heal. We have to look strongly at what is happening even now. My tribe is Anglican, and I have a hard time sometimes still standing with other people that say their spiritual path is Christian. However, like my friend from the Roman Catholic Church, we are determined to do that. And Tony, I want to thank you for trusting us to receive your friends with hospitality and warmth. And so I am welcoming you on behalf of our organization to do that. We know that the process, the 94 calls to action, are happening slowly, and we know there are people that just want to get on with it and forget what's happened. So we are determined to work at the grassroots to restore or create relationships of friendship and trust. And concretely, tonight, our young people are leading a vigil at Riverfront Park beside the Seven Gifts installation, which is about the seven grandfather teachings. And why are we doing this? We want you to know that we are inspired by all that you bring to your process, including the hard work of healing, including the music and the storytelling, the art, all of that, which just delights us. And we want to, with this vigil, we also want to say that we stand with you. We know this is taking a long time. We recognize it's not easy. And we want you to know we'll never forget.
Thank you. Before I call up our last speaker, I did want everybody to know that we have an emotional support room. It's not exactly a room, but it's set up on the second floor. Take the back stairs up, turn right and go around. And I'd like to point out who's providing emotional support. Doris Lanigan, a Métis elder from Saskatchewan, and also Mary Louise Perron. So I want to thank them. If anybody needs emotional support, or you see anyone that needs emotional support, you can take them up there at a nice quiet place where they'll be taken care of. Yes?
Will you say something on behalf of the artists?
Sure.
When you're ready.
I'm ready. I want to ask George Samard, the head of Kushkupeo Métis Artists Collective, who wants to say something. We invite him to come and say something on behalf of the artists.
So welcome everyone. It's first I have to say the community of Elmont is just such a beautiful place, and the warmth that its citizens have towards reconciliation and our artists specific is very kind, and we have lots of gratitude for your involvement with us. And we have several artists from all over Ontario here. Patty Boulanger, one of our up-and-coming featured artist. She's just wonderful. Joe Jessup, Riley, Monica, Amanda, and Tony Belcourt. He's the ambassador for Cushpatea, and he's really wonderful in what he does. He promotes us, and he helps us with our journey. And so once again, I just want to thank you and express my gratitude personally to all the involvement, because this reconciliation means a lot to the journey that a lot of the artists have with their families. It's very emotional. It's a very starting our healing process, and it means a lot to us that we're here. And once again, I thank you so much.
Thank you very much, George. And now I'd like to, it gives me great pleasure to ask the co-chair of our Reconciliation Through Art Committee, Pamela Steele, to come forward. Pamela has a few words she's going to say on behalf of our team and all the volunteers.
Hello. I would like to thank our team. Our team that put together Reconciliation Through Art is beyond compare. They're professional, even though some of us are retired. Tony himself, he is somebody that you cannot imagine working with. He pushes, he grabs people, he's the most amazing guy I've ever met, and he's old. My dad's the same age, so it's no big deal, but I've never worked with someone that is as driven as I am. So it's really awesome to work with him. He's just a force of nature that this would not ever happen without him. So that's my favorite guy. After that, I wanted to thank all the people that we worked with as a team. We worked with a whole list, so I'm gonna read it if I can see where it is here. First of all, we've got Letitia, who was our liaison with all the artists. She did all the communications. Yeah, you go ahead and clap for her, she's amazing. And we also have Terry Clark. Terry Clark organized all the billeting for some of the artists, probably about half of them. And Terry also organized all the volunteers for all the volunteer teams, and we had teams for postering and for front of house when we did the concert last night, and teams for the United Church when we did the screening, teams that are for right here. We have all the people who are helping the vendors today, people who are greeters over there, people who are working in the mill room, the Millworkers Learning Center upstairs, people who are working at the coffee. That was all organized by Terry. She's, if you don't know her, you must know her. She knows everybody. It's fantastic, thank God. Then we have also Catherine Pellerin. She's back at the raffle. She's organized the whole raffle. The raffle is artistic donations from the artists who are here. So she has organized all of that and will continue to perform her duties until the end of the day when we make the draw around 4 o'clock. We also have David Jolliffe. He is the head of our comms, responsible for all of our advertising. Did a really good job because we have people here. We also have Elena Sultana. She's our graphic designer. Does all the beautiful artwork, big posters all over the place. She's amazing. And we have Margie Graff. Margie Graff is our school's liaison. So the people who are teaching upstairs, some of them will actually go to the schools and perform today and do teachings. So Margie Graff has done all of that. And we have a tech team. We have our lovely photographer, Rick Waltzman. I was calling Wilson, sorry. We have Michael, he does our filming. We've got Kate, who does sound. Yesterday at the Old Town Hall, we had David Finkel. He does everything, but he also did our sound yesterday. We have a whole bunch of people who I don't want to, I want to talk about the sponsors too. So Tony has mentioned our major sponsors, but we also have other sponsors like the Municipality of Mississippi Mills. They've donated lots of money, helped us get ourselves up and going this year again. We also have the Canadian Race Relations. They have put forward lots of money. It helps pay for our sponsors, the venue, insurance, food, all kinds of things. And then we have the hub from uptown, and we have a lot of sponsors from around town. And if you want to see the sponsors, they are all up on that poster up there, everybody that's donated. So I think I will cut it short there because we all have to, we've got that whole school coming in through here. So thank you so much for coming, and people who volunteered to help us, you have been the best. Couldn't work with anybody better. Thank you so much.
And just a little plug for me and a future book. I have a book. It is the story of the Metis of Ontario, Metis communities of Ontario. And we had some advanced copies made. There are not many around, and they were made for a specific purpose. And so one of them is on display out there for the raffle, so buy tickets. And the designer of, the graphic designer of that wonderful book is I just see him right there, Mark St. Germain. So shout out to Mark. If you have never had really good niche food, then now's the chance. And if you have had, you're never going to find anything better than what we've got out here. The Fry Bread Queen has come back to be with us. So I ask everybody to get out there when you get a chance and really take advantage of that good food. So with that, I want to thank everybody for coming. I want to thank all of the people who have made this event possible. I got all kinds of pats on the back, but hey, you know, it is a community that makes things happen. It's our people that make things happen. It's a team of people with like mind and vision and shared vision that make things happen. And I'm just blessed to have been fortunate enough to have so many good people come around and say, yeah, I want to be on that team. So thank you all. Merci.
Merci to everyone who was involved in throwing this event. After the opening talks, we were able to go and speak to some of the artists and hear what reconciliation means to them.
Hi, I'm Patty Belanger. This is my artwork. Today we're celebrating reconciliation, and reconciliation to me means the coming together of people. For me, my art represents how I feel about the place that I live, my ancestors, and creating beauty and using my God-given gifts to bring that to the world.
My name is Riley Demery. I started beading just over a year ago in 2024. So Truth and Reconciliation to me is about sharing our truth, sharing our stories, and really showing the world that we are still here and we are still connecting as a community.
My name is Fern, and I am Samantha Loney's cousin. I don't have a fancy answer as far as what my art represents. Usually I'll sit down and just draw. Whatever I've been absorbing will manifest itself into my art. I've got a lot of my First Nations and Celtic ancestry in this. So you'll see things like a lot of beards, Gabriel Dumont with Triskelion patterns, which is a Celtic form. And the eyes, I actually stole basically from the Book of Kells, which is an ancient Celtic manuscript. And most of my art deals with mixed ancestry, the afterlife. I'm a multiple cancer survivor, so I went through a very dark period thinking I was going to die, depression, anxiety. And so a lot of that pain, chronic fatigue that I deal with constantly is in my art. So of course, the children, the residential schools, is people need to know about what happened to the children, to the women and in these schools. And when I was a kid growing up, they didn't teach us any of this kind of stuff. They didn't teach us about our culture. They didn't teach us about the traumas that people faced. And so I think it's important that everybody knows about it. And also reconnecting with your roots. If your ancestors were hidden from you, or if you didn't know about it, or if you had any shame about it, which is a lot of people in our communities, it's important to look back and find out about who you are as a person. Embrace all your ancestors. Embrace your Cree and Ojibwe, Algonquin, French, Celtic, Irish, whatever. Embrace them all, because without all of them, you wouldn't be here. That's the way I look at it anyways.
Merci for watching. Of course, September 30th is National Day for Truth and Reconciliation, but reconciliation should continue throughout the year. So we encourage you to engage with First Nations, Metis, and Inuit communities that might be in your area and find out how we can implement the Truth and Reconciliation Commission's calls to action. Merci for watching, and we'll see you down the river.